Hello, and welcome to Learn Spanish on SpanishDict.com. I'm Paralee Whitmire, your teacher. Today you'll be learning how to conjugate regular AR and IR verbs using language and country vocabulary like hablo español, vives en Argentina, y mucho más. ¡Vámonos! In the last lesson, you learned how to conjugate regular ER verbs like comer and beber. But remember that there are three types of verbs in Espanol: AR, ER, and IR. There are more AR verbs in Spanish than any other verb type, so let's try and tackle one of those first. How about hablar? Hablar means to speak, and it's a really useful word, especially when you're somewhere where you need to ask if someone speaks your language. ¿Hablas español? Wait, we're getting a little ahead of ourselves. Let's start with the verb again, hablar. Remember, this is the infinitive form because it ends in an AR, and it means to speak. Now to conjugate a verb, what is the first thing that you have to do? Take off the ending so that you can find the stem. What's the stem for our verb hablar? H-A-B-L. This is the stem that we'll use for all 6 conjugations in the regular simple present tense. Now the endings to AR verbs are actually very similar to the endings for ER verbs. The only difference is, instead of all the E's that an ER verb has, like comes, come, comemos, coméis, and comen, you're going to have A's. Hablas, habla, hablamos, habláis, and hablan. Except for the yo form, ER verbs are going to have an E in the verb ending, and AR verbs are going to have A's. Makes sense, doesn't it? So let's conjugate hablar from the very beginning. We already found our stem. Do you remember what it is? H-A-B-L. We can write that out 6 times. Now all we have to do is add the endings. For yo, you'll have the letter O, just like an ER verb. Hablo, I speak. For tú, you'll add AS instead of ES, giving you hablas, you speak. For él, ella, and usted, remember they all have the exact same ending. You'll add the letter A, habla, he or she speaks, or you formal speak. For nosotros or nosotras, you'll have hamos, giving you hablamos. For vosotros and for vosotras in Spain, you'll add A with an accent, IS, habláis, you plural speak. And lastly, you'll have ellos, ellas, and ustedes, all with the same ending, AN, hablan. They speak or you plural speak. Y otra vez, con fotos. Repite. Hablo inglés. Hablo inglés. Hablas italiano. Hablas italiano. Habla francés. Habla francés. Habla chino. Habla chino. Habla japonés. Habla japonés. Hablamos ruso. Hablamos ruso. Habláis español. Habláis español. Hablan alemán. Hablan alemán. Hablan portugués. Hablan portugués. Now, all we have left are IR verbs. How about a verb like vivir, which means to live? Finding the stem should be easy by now, right? What's the stem for vivir? V-I-V. Just take off the I-R. Now, the endings for an IR verb are almost exactly the same as ER verbs. Actually, they're exactly the same except for nosotros and vosotros. Take a look. Here are the regular present tense endings for an ER verb. O, es, hemos, es, and en. Now, all you have to do is copy the yo, tú, él, ella, usted, ellos, ellas, and ustedes forms right over to the IR verb. For IR, you have o, es, let's skip nosotros and vosotros for a second, and then last you have en. So with our verb vivir, that gives us vivo, I live, vives, you live, vive, he or she lives, or you formal live. And let's skip nosotros and vosotros. Viven, they live, or you live. Now, for the nosotros and vosotros forms, you'll have the endings that you probably thought an IR verb would have in the first place. What kind of endings do you think an IR verb would have? With I's, right? So, instead of an E in hemos and an E in es, let's just change them to I's. Nosotros vivimos. The ending is I-M-O-S. Now, the vosotros form is a little different, and you won't use it that often anyway, so I'll just give it to you straight. It's just an I with an accent and then an S. Vivís. You live. But remember, you only use this form when you're in Spain, talking to a group of friends or people you're very comfortable with. Now, if we look at our chart and we look at the section where we copied the ER verbs over, the first, second, third person singular, and third person plural, we have a shape in our chart. It kind of looks like a boot, if you use your imagination. Spanish actually has a lot of verbs that may seem a little funny in these forms, the yo, tú, él, ella, usted, ellos, ellas, and ustedes form. Keep a lookout for the boot, especially later when we start studying stem-changing verbs and more irregular verbs. Okay, te toca, it's your turn. I'm going to give you the pronoun, the name of a language, and the country that a person lives in. You tell me how to conjugate the verb vivir for the pronoun that I gave you. Por ejemplo, I'll give you yo. For yo, you'll have hablo inglés, vivir in parentheses, this is what I want you to conjugate, and then the name of a country, en los Estados Unidos. I want you to conjugate vivir so that it says, I live in the United States. So, what would your answer be? Vivo. Find the stem, V-I-V, and then add the yo ending. Oh, hablo inglés, vivo en los Estados Unidos. Muy bien. Sigamos. Tú. Hablas italiano. Blank en Italia. Vives. Hablas italiano. Vives en Italia. Él. Habla francés. Blank en Francia. Vive. Habla francés. Vive en Francia. Nosotros. Hablamos ruso. Blank en Rusia. Vivimos. Hablamos ruso. Vivimos en Rusia. Vosotros. Habláis español. Blank en España. Vivís. Habláis español. Vivís en España. Ellos. Hablan español. Blank en Argentina. Viven. Hablan español. Viven en Argentina. ¡Qué bien! Es todo para hoy. You can practice everything you learned in this lesson at SpanishDict.com/reference. There you'll find all the picture flashcards for the vocabulary in this lesson, as well as games, quizzes, the forum, and video chat. If you enroll in the course, we'll keep track of your points for you, and you can compare yourself to others on the leaders board. If you have any questions on how to conjugate regular AR, ER, or IR verbs, check out the reference section at SpanishDict.com/reference. As always, everything at SpanishDict.com is completely free, so enjoy yourself and take a look. Until next time, hasta luego y adios!